Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Trackside Live.
Hey, everybody, I'm Brian.
Hello, everybody. This is Joe G.
Hey, I'm Shannon.
Hi, I'm Ron.
Hey, this is Steve.
Oh, and we can't forget about Marcel.
Oh, hey.
Hello, everybody. This is Joe G.
Hey, I'm Shannon.
I'm Joe.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode. As you can see, we have a fair few people on here at the moment, so I'll let everyone else introduce themselves this morning whilst I deal with my son who's decided to soak my floor.
Morning.
Okay.
I'm getting a lot of noise, Shannon.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of background noise.
Sounds like we've got some feedback.
Yeah.
Joel, make sure you
Yeah, I
mute
think
your
Joel needs to consider.
speakers if you've got something else open.
Joel should be muted at the moment.
You still got the feedback? Okay.
Better. A little better.
Yeah, it sounds like it's getting better.
Okay, there we
Right.
go. Okay, Allie.
Yep. Right. So, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to everyone around the world. Welcome to another exciting episode of Trackside with the Back on Track team. I'm AllyChat, as also known. We've got Shannon back in the chair, the guy in the chair this week. We've got Claude and Steve and John, and also we've got Gary and Joel with us today. Today we thought we'd have a quick chat to you guys about terminology and things like that, how it can be quite confusing in the model railway industry, particularly if you don't come from a railway or railroad background. Just like that, for example, the difference between a railway and a railroad, they are the same thing, just different ways, different countries say different things. We're also going to be talking about different codes of rail and things like that, and the differences. And I think I'll move on to Claude. He knows a fair bit more about that than me, so take it away, Claude.
Well, one thing we were talking about when we were coming up with something to talk about today was the different lingo, and one of those is rail. Steve will explain a little bit more about that here in a minute, but I was going to show you some of the different sizes that I have. Not all on my railroad, but I have these in my possession. You get the light turned on here, so maybe you can see it. And I'll get the camera turned around. Okay. These are the different codes of rail that I have in my possession. I had a little bit of Pico 100, and then these next three are code 83, code 70, and code 55. I've got some code 40, but I couldn't find it this morning. These are all microengineering, but they're quite a bit different in size. I'll try to show you the difference. If I pick it up, show you the difference in the two sizes. This is focus there. There you go. That's 100, code 100 Pico, and 55, code 55 microengineering, and of course code 40 is even smaller than that. So you can see how different the rail can get. And of course, if you get into O gauge, into G gauge, it gets up to like 125. Sorry about that.
It
It gets up to like 125. And it can be kind of confusing because the sizes are all different. In the models, we go by inches on the rail. In the prototype, it would be, they would not use rail code. They go by the weight of the rail per foot. So you have heavier weight rail and lighter weight rail, but they stipulate it by the weight per foot of the rail itself. Your main lines would be the heavier rail, and then your sidings and narrow gauge uses much lighter rail, that sort of thing.
Now,
But
yeah, sorry, Claude. Now to support what you were saying with the codes in relation to you know, the different codes between Trax in the modeling world, I did draw up something quickly just before, which I'll bring up in a second. Just give us 2 seconds to go boom, boom. What is it?
This diagram will help explain a lot.
Hey,
There we go.
we're getting a lot of noise. The feedback is crazy on here.
Well, it's not from my end because I don't have anything playing in the background.
Yeah, I haven't got anything going.
Yeah. Anyway, so what a lot of people, I know I've had this question asked to me a lot, and I know a lot of people have asked this question to other people. When we're talking about codes in regards to the rails, the code is actually the measurement of the rail height in inches. So, as you can see here in this diagram, I drew up quickly. So, so in N scale, which is what I'm modeling, obviously you've got code 80 and code 55. Code 80 is 0.080 of an inch high. Code 55 is 0.055 of an inch. Now, obviously, with the bigger scales where you go HO, OO, O scale, G scale and whatnot, obviously those codes will be different, but it's still under the same rule of thumb. So it all goes by the height of the actual rail for that model, depending on the scale. And in saying that, I know in the N scale with the P code 55, they do double embed the track into the sleeper itself to give it better support, but otherwise most of the tracks that I'm familiar with, the sleepers are just held on top of the sleepers themselves from the manufacturer. Back to you,
a very good point that Claude brought up as well was a word that some people may not be particularly familiar with. When we're referring to the real thing, the locomotive that is out there on the track, the one-to-one scale thing. And this is a word that when I first got into the hobby, I had no idea. And that's called prototype. Prototype, we're referring to what we see out there in the real world and what we're copying, what we're trying to imitate in our model form. So it was, for me personally, I know it was a word that when people refer to prototype, I thought of the actual meaning of a prototype, which is, is it like a first of many sort of thing, like this is the practice run? But it's in the model railway community, we're often referring to our one-to-one scale counterparts. So that was just an interesting little bit of terminology that I thought was something that maybe there's some people, maybe even in chat tonight, that have no idea and just learned the thing. So, Sorry to jump in on you there, Claude.
no, that's fine.
Oh, now I don't hear the echo. That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's much better.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I don't know if I'm getting every third word of Ally, so I don't know if it's on my end or what. But
I can hear you fine, Steve.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
yeah, I was getting a little bit
No,
of echo, but I didn't hear too much.
What?
anyone on chat can confirm or deny that there's an echo or not, or if there's any audio issues.
Yeah, because I got a message from Marcel that he said that the echo is crazy.
Mm.
Well, I've got my microphone muted at the moment. I can only talk when I press the space bar because obviously I've got Bubs running around screaming and making goos and gars. So
Little kid.
Well, no, it sounds good now. Yeah, but my internet again is giving me issues. So if I fade out, I apologize. Well, welcome to the show, Gary. I appreciate you coming on, man.
Brian asked a question in chat. He asked me, which I don't know the answer to this, but except for part of it I do. He said, why doesn't Fast Trax make a danged code 80 jig? Will code 70 rail from Micromark work with Pico code 80? As far as the second part of that, I don't know, Brian. My guess is they'll be a little bit different, but you can probably get a transition joiner. They do make transition joiners, so one side of the joiner is higher than the other so that the top of the rail lines up.
Claude,
yeah.
Give Brian's question again. I got part of it because I think I have an answer. What did he read?
Well, the other part is that I was going to turn over to you, the Fast Trax part of it, because you have talked to him at Fast Trax about this, asking why don't they make a code 80 jig. And I know they can make one, but they don't have one in N-scale, and I'm assuming he's talking about N-scale. But tell him what you heard from him.
Well, there wasn't a call for making it. So actually, you steered me to a different guy. It's Blue Ridge Trax, and I spoke with him extensively, and he makes a jig. Actually, he can custom make it. He's retired, and he'll build them for you. They're made out of a composite or some. They don't break. They're a good heat sink. And what he did is he made this for me. I told him I got code, Atlas code 80 track, and I'm going to be replacing switches, as I said. And these are what I use. They're Atlas, but he suggested getting a template. The guy from Fast Track template, and find out exactly what switches you have, because I thought I had number 6 switches, and it turns out they're number 5. And Blue Ridge makes a number 6 crossover in N-scale for code 55 and code 40, but they didn't have a code 80. So he said, I'll make you one, in code 80 for my track in a number 5. And same price, and it's half the cost of Fast Tracks. Theirs are aluminum, and these, I don't know what they are, but I don't know if you can see this. This is a double, and when I saw this, it scared the crap out of me. But I'm going to make the turn. I can make a crossover. I can double crossover. I can make the right left hand turnouts with it. But the issue that I had was I have 2 bundles and maybe 3 of a code 70 rail. I mean, this is old rail that I've had for probably about 30 years. And I figured, well, I could make them out of that. He said he could. So I get the rail in there, and the code 70 won't go in there. The webbing is too big for what he cut, and the Atlas is too small. I pulled a piece of Atlas rail off, and it slops around. So I called him and said, well, what do I do? And he said, well, I cut that to micro engineering standards, which I don't have any micro engineering rail. So, and that's where I'm getting confused on rail sizes. You've got you know, it's code 80 rail that I've got, but it doesn't fit in a code 80, you know, cut turnout. So that's where I got really confused. So he's going to send me a couple of samples of microengineering code 80 and code 70, because he says they'll both fit in here. So, you know, if anybody has ideas about, you know, how rail works, I'm cool with, you know, I'm cool with telling me.
Does he plan on doing the code 80?
Crystal.
I'm sorry?
Does he plan on doing the code 80 for Atlas?
Yeah, well, this is it.
How far are you?
What's going on here?
I think we may have lost him for a second.
Yeah, I think someone's fat fingered the button here. What is going on?
I don't know what happened to him. Anyway, the different rail manufacturers make the rail. The height is going to be the same in whatever code you're in. It's going to be the web on the rail is going to be different. The bottom of the rail is going to be a different width from manufacturer to manufacturer. The height will fit, but it's going to be the other. And you'll notice that if you ever have two different kinds of rail and use a joiner for one rail, the other one's either going to be way tight or way loose. Not way tight or way loose, but tight or loose on the other rail, on the off-brand rail. So that's just something you got to kind of look into if you're planning a very large layout. Try to decide what kind of rail you're going to use, which kind of track you're going to use with manufacturer, and stick with that, and you'll be a lot happier that way. You'll have a lot less modifications you have to make.
Exactly. Sorry, I got a phone call in the middle of what I was connected.
Yeah, we all did. I don't know what that was about. I think I'm starting to hear it. I can't believe we got to fix that.
What was one of the other things that Ally had brought up was about the differences between DCC Ready and DCC Equipped, and how confusing that can be sometimes. Because I know you can put DCC in most anything, but that's even different. If you have a DC engine, that's even different than one that's DCC Ready versus than one that's DCC Equipped. Do you want to explain some of that?
Well, I remember when I was younger, I used to work in a hobby shop, and I always had a lot of customers, you know, complaining to me, going, "I bought this DCC Ready locomotive, but it doesn't work on my DCC system," because they weren't understanding that DCC Ready is the terminology they use for a locomotive that has the plug. So it's ready to have the chip put in, but it doesn't necessarily have the chip already in it. And that can be a bit of a hard thing for some people to grasp, particularly those who are new to DCC. So I had to teach the difference between DCC Ready and DCC Equipped, because DCC Equipped means we've already put the chip in there for you. You're good to go. Stick it on the track and program, off you go. DCC Ready means you still got to take the body off. You still got to pay another $30, $40 for a chip and plug that baby into the 8-pin or 21-pin or 7-pin JST, whatever, socket. And for a lot of people, I remember when DCC first came out, it was a very confusing concept. So I thought that was something that maybe we needed to go over as well. That even for some of those that may not understand DCC and how it works.
Just to add to what you were saying, Ali, is apart from DCC Ready, there's also terminology DCC friendly. A lot of people get the two confused, DCC friendly and DCC Ready. DCC friendly, it still means the locomotive can be fitted with DCC fairly easily, but it's not a plug and play kind of system. It's basically you have to hardwire the decoder in it with very little machining, or it's just a drop-in board, so to speak.
Like, for example, in N-scale, a lot of the N-scale split chassis, all you have to do is separate the chassis a little, take out the old boards, put the new board in, and put it back together. It's not a plug as such, but it's not that it can't be converted sort of thing. There's a lot of very old stuff out there that some of those motors just cannot be converted. Triang, for example, old stuff like that. I mean, you wouldn't even bother putting a chip in that, but, it's not exactly DCC friendly or DCC ready.
Yeah, and it's the same with, like, I've got a couple of Buckman locos, like the Consolidations, where they're DCC friendly, and basically when you do open up the chassis to install a decoder, the wiring's already there for the motor and the front light, but you still have to do a little bit of machining on where they expect you to put the decoder, because it is a little small. But then after you've done that, you've got to hardwire those wires to the decoder.
Yes, there's also some more terminology there that can be particularly confusing, especially if you want to go down that road of DCC. And a lot of other things out there, there's a lot of myths out there, like, for example, running a DCC equipped locomotive on a DC transformer, like on a straight analog transformer. Now, a lot of people say, no, don't do that, you can't do that, it's wrong, it's going to destroy the chip, blah, 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 blah. I'm here to dispel that little myth. No, you can run a DCC equipped locomotive on a standard DC controller. Now, when I talk standard, I mean those pulse controllers, like in Australia we've got Pace and Morley controllers and things like that. No. You can't run a DCC equipped locomotive on those. But if you've got something like the standard, those little grey Barkman ones that come in the specs, perfect. You can still run a DCC equipped locomotive using that DC controller, provided, now with some decoders you can lock out the DC function. So sometimes you've got to make sure that DC function has been turned back on. So, and it's not unhealthy for the decoder, it's not bad for the motor, it's not even bad for the lights. It can be done, just be careful what DC controller you're using. And that's another little bit of confusion.
To add to what you were saying as well, Ali, got to double check the voltages on your DC controller output, because my rule of thumb is to never put anything more than between 12 and 14 volts through your decoder on DC mode. I have to double check what the exact voltage is, but you go too far and you will overload the circuit.
So it can be done. It's just a lot of people go, oh, no, but it is okay.
Well, they say that because they've done it the wrong way and and ruined something. But
if you put it decoder backwards, it's going to do it.
You got to check what you're working with, and if you have any questions at all, research it. There's plenty of information out there on YouTube and forums and everything else, and just research it.
Ask us in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. So you can find a lot of things like that on the DCC end. I'll say on YouTube, but pretty much anywhere. I have Digitrax, and I'm on their forum, although I've never gone in and actually read the forum, but I get emails of questions all the time. And I've read a lot of those because they raised a question in my mind when I saw the subject. Not that I had that to deal with, but it gives me more information to work with down the line. And I know I can go there now and find almost anything I need to know on Digitrax. And I'm sure the rest of the manufacturers are the same way. I'm sure they have forums that you can go to, as well as the YouTube channels and stuff.
TCS
No,
is a great example.
in the booklets that they send in the newer engines, you can find that info in there as well. A lot of the addresses going in and changing the address, I know TCS, I forget, I want to say it's address 34, I think, and you go in and you subtract 4 from that, and that turns on or off. You subtract 4, it turns off the DC function. You add 4 to that value, and it turns the DC value back on. But it actually controls, I think 6 different functions, and you can find the values on their website.
Yeah.
The TCS are brilliant for that, absolutely. And they've also got installation guides and stuff like that. And they do have also that list of terminology as well, because those fancy DCC words. Oh, it's too fancy for me. I don't understand. They do have that on there as well.
Yeah. TCS has a nice website for decoder installations of their decoders. But you're right, of the terminology that's used in getting something installed. If you have a question, they explain it right there what they're talking about or what that term means. But they've got pictures and step-by-step instructions on how to install them, that sort of thing. And I've used them, and it worked out really well.
I've had a problem with that DCS with my Digitrax system, and luckily a friend of mine that owns a hobby store, he actually got me in contact with one of their reps that is actually part of the service department as well. And anytime I ask a question, I can ask it through email, and I usually within 24 hours to 48 hours have a response back, usually with the solution. And we're actually, I think I'm going on 3 months now trying to resolve an issue, and we're just bouncing ideas back and forth, and he's actually going through their engineering department. So their customer service aspect is really good there.
Yeah. Well, and that goes for a lot of the vendors in the hobby. I've run into it. I know Steve's run into it with Blue Ridge, but I've run into it with some other vendors, not just on DCC stuff. But if you've got a product that you buy from them and you've got a question on how it should go, Barrett Hill Trains is one that I'm dealing with the touch toggles, and trying to work out issues with other manufacturers' equipment, and they'll spend time with you on the phone. I've had them actually call me instead of doing emails. They just asked for my phone number. I gave them my phone number. They called me and said, we were on the phone for an hour working stuff out. And they'll actually end up taking and putting that in their documentation, if it helps out, if it's something they don't already have covered, because they're sometimes they're learning right along with us, on stuff that they manufacture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I spoke with Rob, with the Blue Ridge. I was on the phone for probably an hour with the guy. I mean, he was like, well, I'll just make you another one deal. And he wants to make it good. So yeah. Personal touch.
It's really nice too, because you figure the amount of money that you spend on the models or on the track equipment or the track itself, and then the vendor, they want a repeat customer, so they're going to bend over backwards for you if you're having trouble or trying to figure it out, because later down the road you might do another layout, or you might refer them to somebody. So it's in their best interest to do the customer service. So if you're having a problem, definitely reach out to the manufacturer. I guarantee you probably get an answer pretty quick, because that's just part of the business, is customer service side of it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I had to find out whether it was on my end or his. It's like, did it get cut, with the wrong code rail? And it's cut right. It's fine. It's on my end, and he's going to make it good. He's going to send me some samples to try out and get it working. So yeah, I would highly recommend them.
Well, one of the things you have to remember is most of the vendors, most of the companies that make this stuff, even the companies like Intermountain Trains or somebody like that, or Microtrains, they're not these huge conglomerate companies. They're not nearly as big as what we picture in our minds when we have to buy something from them. They're fairly small businesses, and their customer base is not real big. So that's why they're willing to go above and beyond what you would normally get from, say, an insurance company, or somebody like that, or a bank or something like that. They're more willing to work with you personally to resolve an issue, because they know word of mouth is going to be their biggest advertising, and that's what they want to do.
Absolutely. Hey, Gary, you've got something that I want to see.
I bet I know what you're talking about, Steve. I think that's the whole reason I'm on.
We're halfway through the show, so it's kind of like.
Oh yeah.
Does somebody want to take and make the screen a little bigger for this?
Maybe turn your phone sideways, Gary. There we go.
Can y'all hear me still?
Yep.
Did we have any other questions from the chat? I guess not.
Well, I don't know if
Mostly people just talking to each other.
They always are. They ignore us. Probably a good thing.
And they come on to our show together.
Did we lose Steve again?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
He's been having trouble with his internet.
I'll wait till he comes back before I reveal what I've got.
It depends if he comes back.
He might not come back. He'll watch the replay.
Yeah, he can watch the replay.
Y'all are a little antsy, aren't you?
Oh, wait.
Oh,
this
there
might
he
be him.
I was gonna say that looks like maybe him coming back in.
Yeah, that's him.
We do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for the volume issues and things today. We haven't really had these problems for a while, so I guess it's, we're due for something. Bit of rough play from Colonel Murphy.
Yeah, he's always right around the corner. Oh, what's Joel got there? Oh, that's nice, Joel. Did you build that, or did you?
I need to finish it, but they glued the front end of another caboose on the front of it and extended it. I'm going to take it and make it look a little more complete. So I got to sand it, and refile the edges, and make it fit a little better. They literally just glued the front end of another caboose on another caboose. So he gave it to me, seeing if I can make it look a little better.
What scale is that? Is that ON3?
I like longer.
I'm not a happy camper.
Because I got a big engine, I want a big caboose. That's my logic. I'm like, I got the small caboose, but I just would like to have a have a longer, it's called my bigger locomotive.
Yeah.
But I gotta follow these little edges and stuff because you can see where they've been glued together. So I'm gonna take it and redo the lines, redo the roof where the lines are. Sorry, I'm trying to get the shot. Trying to remove all the lines and relay the roof with new paper and stuff so it looks more realistic, not like some good front end of a caboose on another caboose. Which I weather them and aid them and stuff like that. I bigger trains them into work, not look like new pretty toys. My trains would get mad at me because I do that. I don't. I got a brand new locomotive, a 280, and they were just bit because I took it and sanded it, painted it flat black, put rust on, and said, that's what I want it to look like. My last post-apocalyptic. But hey, even in post-apocalyptic, steam will work. Steam will work in anything. All you gotta do is burn something.
Yeah.
Don't need no electricity to run steam.
What did I miss, Gary?
You haven't missed anything. I waited for you to come back.
Oh.
So
Sorry, I talk too much.
No, you're fine. This thing that I've got is actually related mainly to Claude and you. Claude likes playing hide and seek on your show. So a couple weeks ago I was on and I instantly knew where Claude was just because I've been following his updates and stuff on his channel. And the guess was, where is Claude? Well, he was inside of his helix that is man-sized, literally, because he was almost able to stand up inside the thing. So for the guest, Steve said that he was going to send me a tree off his layout.
Of your choice.
Of my choice. So he sent it, told me about it, and actually last week, right after the show, I went out to the mailbox and it was crammed in there. I probably could have done this last week if I'd checked the mail on Friday, but I forgot. So I'm going to open it live on the show.
And now everyone knows where Steve lives and where Gary lives.
What's
I'm
that?
sorry.
Well, when you were showing that box, Gary, you were showing off both your addresses to everyone live. So get ready
That's
for the
okay.
fan mail.
Send the fan mail.
Maybe we'll get some free stuff, Steve.
Only
Any local
fan
neighbors
mail.
that you want to see. Steve, I gotta say, the tape
Brown did that once.
And Steve
Do
dropped
what?
that again. Poor
Well, he's
Steve.
not
What was he
having
saying?
a good time.
Looks like he's trying to come back in. So
Shannon, did you have anything that you wanted to throw in as well? I think you had some.
Yes, thank you for reminding. Thank you for reminding me. My head has been stuck with mini me, so to speak. Now. Anyway, so as a lot of you know, for a while we had to stop doing trackside beans. As of Friday, I have been put back on annual leave, so trackside beans is going to be coming back in the next few days.
yay!
All right.
Now, in saying that, I can still see Steve. He's a black screen, so whether he heard any of that or not, I do not know.
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah. Maybe if Steve does come back on, we'll go, sorry, Steve, you missed out. You're going to have to watch the replay.
Well, I'm waiting to do the reveal until I see him back on screen. So. And I know what he's done to me, and I want him to laugh on screen about this.
Well, we had
Shannon,
a
was there also
question.
something about the box car as well?
Well,
An update on that?
well, last week I did say that they're getting sent out, which there has been a delay because of work and just everything that life has to bring. But they're parceled up. They're in a box. They're gonna be leaving. I'm gonna be putting them in the post box tomorrow. So post
hello.
Monday morning. So the N-scale one's going north into New South Wales for about a week, and the HO one's coming to you, Ali, to
Oh,
so you'll get that.
you got
hopefully.
mine.
Yeah, it's in the thingamabobs, the responses or whatever you want to call it, the application. That's the word I was after.
Application.
Yep. So yeah, if anyone wants to be part of the traveling boxcar, there is a link in the description to go to the information video. In the information video down below that, there's the form for you to fill out. But yeah, like as I said last week, I'm going to be mapping it out somewhat. Not specific to everyone's address for privacy reasons, but basically just to their main city. And yeah, and hopefully, yeah, it'll be rolling, and we'll get it to a few people this year before end of the year.
Yeah, sorry, Steve, you did miss out on the big reveal.
Hello.
Steve, can you hear? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay, now Steve, don't move a muscle. You can use your mouth. That's it.
So I haven't revealed what I got.
Trackside beans, man. Trackside beans.
Oh, you heard it there.
Well, I haven't revealed what you sent in the box, Steve. So the first thing I got was this card.
No. Better hurry up.
I know, before his internet goes back.
There we go.
So I got a congrats from the Back on Track team with all of them. Then I got not one, but actually 4 trees off of Steve's layout. They kind of fell apart or didn't really fall apart in the box, but
I thought there should have been 6.
okay, yeah.
I think Colonel Murphy's decided to stay with Steve during the showstopper. I nearly said it. I nearly said it.
Well, I'll wait for the best part when Steve gets back. I'll show all the trees real quick. He knows what trees he sent, so.
Oh, this show's becoming a whole lot of let's wait for Steve.
That's gonna be the new motto.
Actually, whilst we're waiting for Steve, Bernard says just asking how many of us are using DCC with Arduino. Now, I've had a look into it. I wouldn't mind doing it in the future, but I need to make the time to actually learn programming and Arduino and how to set up DCC++.
I'm not familiar with it.
What else is on there that I'm looking at?
There was another one. Dave Piper asked if we had any opinions on crossovers, sections versus individual turnouts, other than the obvious space requirements. Any issues with wiring, derailments, etc. I don't have any crossovers other than single crossovers, and don't have any wiring problems with that. So
yeah,
I can't answer that.
Well, I was going to say on my son's layout. I'm going to close the door for a second. On my boy's layout, I've got I'm not sure if you can see it, I've got a double slit there. widened for DCC, and I've had no issues with it. You know, works well, especially for a half crossover, I guess. In relation to like the crossovers you get from Kato, I'm not a real fan of them. I'm more into using individual turnouts to make crossovers as such. Otherwise, like, you know, I've always been a fan of the double slips or the single slips because, you know, it adds that little bit of extra, what's the word I'm after?
Challenge?
Not challenge, like, adds a little bit of zing, I guess. Lack of a better description, you know, like it makes it a bit more appealing in the track design and the challenges you have to do to navigate through it.
Zing, mark that one down. That's a technical term.
Testing. Hello.
We hear you.
All right, Steve, since you're back, I'm going to reveal the last piece. I did have 6 trees in the box. They were just kind of grouped together. So the final piece that I won off of Steve's layout is this beautiful Atlas broken switch.
Said that.
I'm surprised you didn't send all of them to you.
It is very fragile. It may have lost some pieces in the way over.
That's all there was. That's it.
In saying that, Gary, if you ever have a section on your layout where there's meant to be an abandoned rail line where they've redesigned the switch track, just solder a piece of track onto it so it's just a standard single track and it'll work nice.
I told him I was planning on embedding the somewhere in the layout.
Yeah, do a flat
Now,
car
luckily-
load. We'll cut it in half as the new switch.
Now, luckily, he left me one coupler or one track joiner on there, so I am going to put that to good use. I was running low on that. I need to go back a couple of episodes and use Claude's molding technique to mold me some.
I'm going to do a GoFundMe page.
GoFundMe for the rest of your
Help
switches to be replaced.
Yeah, help Steve's internet.
Get Brian to bring his lawnmower over.
I'm gonna buy some make some more of these.
Oh, I like that, Joel.
Yeah, it's all scratch built except for the frame. I made the box and everything.
Very nice, Joel.
It's pretty cool. It looks like a beer wagon.
Heck, water wagon, beer wagon, war wagon. I like to make everything look aged and what like this. I want to make it painted brown and weathered just like this one. I'll take the roof off and make a new. I like using real wood. I know plastic's easy to work with, but I just enjoy the work with wood. I can sand it, scuff it up, take some black paint and make it look real old, and I have to take forever to do it. When I was a kid, I was too nitpicky. Then I got older, it's like, it looks better weathered and rusted and beat up. It's like my bike. I ride my bike. It ain't made to be a show bike. It's made to be. I make my trains.
I was just thinking, here's another bit of interesting terminology that can probably get very confusing. In American terms, when you're shunting, in Australia, what we would call shunting, they call it switching. And switching is what they do with a locomotive, and they move cars around wagons. carriages around in the yard. And when I was a kid, a switching was a point, a diversion in track, like the one that Gary's got from Steve. That to me was a switch or a switching.
I call them switches too, but some people call them throws. My dad always called me throws because he was a rail engineer. He worked for the railroad for years, but I always called them switches. That's what they do. They switch. You go to one end to the other, switch. But they call them. But everybody's got their own names for stuff. I don't get nitpicking. If that's what you call it, that's what you call it. Who am I to judge? Hell, I can't even talk, let alone judge somebody.
But I had names for all sorts of things when I was a kid, Boom gates, for example, I called them ding dings because, well, they go ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
So, I had names for everything when I was a kid.
Talking ding. I want to make a doodle wags, those signs that will go back and forth like that.
Wigwag.
Wigwag.
Wigwag, yeah.
I want to make some of those for my Boeing 30. They're not really anybody use them, but I just think they look cool. And hey, if I like it, it's my world, my land. I can do what I want to.
Yeah, they had some of those in Victorville, California, where the Santa Fe and the UP came through. Well, I don't think UP came through there, but Santa Fe did. And they had wigwags. I used to love those as a kid.
Yeah, I remember seeing them in Dodge City. That's technology. Got to make things safe because everybody's an idiot. Got to make everything look dumbasses. Sorry for my French, but I get mad at people. It's like, I need to put up a warning for everything. Are you blind? It's a train coming.
Yeah.
You can't hear a big whistle blowing?
Well, there's always a reason they put that on there, though. It's like it's like the stuff that they say do not ingest, and you're thinking, who would put this in their mouth? Well, somebody evidently did, because that's why it's on there.
Well, I say it's remove all the animals. We kill all the morons today. Just ones are left. But I'm a prick. You gotta forgive me. I hate people. I deal with them all the time. I've learned. Oh, they'll judge me because I have two fake legs. First thing I walk up, how can you ride a motorcycle with no legs? I just do. It's just like, really? And I don't mind people asking. I hate people get mad at the kid that's gonna walk and say, how did you lose your legs? I told him I was ran over by a car. Some chick on a cell phone, And they say, well, you didn't ask me like that. No, it ain't. That's how you learn by asking. I'd rather a child come up and ask me than their parents are staring at me because I've got fake legs. I'm not hiding because they're trying to defend me. I hope I offend you. That's why I wear a shirt so you can see my legs and prosthetic. Because people want to judge like people haven't trained. Oh, it's a toy. Yeah, it's my toy. I like my toys. Thank you very much. You'll be doing worse things than model things. And birds is one of them.
Hello. You want to talk about, do you?
She's my baby. I got two of them, but she's my baby. She's the one who always has to be with me.
Beautiful parrot.
Well, you gotta go over there and get the black cockatoo. John. Shannon, sorry.
Nah, it's all good. Anyway, in saying that, it's getting pretty close to the end of the show. So, is there any last questions or any other model railroad lingo that anyone has, for us to talk about quickly before I'll close this up?
You guys were talking about the DCC. I got a ON30 that's DCC equipped. I run my friend's track, but I run mine on a DC track. and I've never had no troubles with it running on DC track. And I think there was a few years back where they made it where DCC trains could run on DC track as long as you get pretty lot of amps through it.
Yeah.
I think was alluding to earlier.
You said something like that, and I agree with you because that's listen, mine's deep and it works just fine. But some of the older ones, you can fly them because they're not designed to be ran through DC. Where like some of the newer DCC trains can go on DC track. It's a matter of time.
As Claude said, you got to know what equipment you're running and specs, etc. as well.
Yeah, and what it's capable of doing.
I mean, you're not going to go put a Dremel bit in, say, a hand drill or something like that. You know, they just don't go together. You got to know your equipment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, let's just get a bigger hammer.
You're not going to put an N-scale locomotive on a HO track. Know your equipment.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to ask.
Anyway, I'll wrap up the show for today. So, there was some great points made today by the team and some great discussions. I'd like to thank Gary for joining us, Joel and John for making an appearance today as well. I'm not sure if you said much today, John, but, as I've been in and out, but, thanks for being here anyway.
I'm not
thank
even
Ally and
sure.
Claude, part of the teams for being here as well. In the panel. Again, just to remind everyone, so there's a traveling box car. Again, as I said, the link's down below regarding the information video. There is a link in that information video to apply for the traveling box car, which will be leaving Monday. So it is starting its journey Monday morning first thing. Once the postman picks it up from the post box that I'll put it in. I do know that there's a couple of giveaway stuff that still needs to be mailed. I have been trying to get some addresses so I can post what I have to those people. I don't know if the other stuff has been posted. Otherwise, we do have another giveaway idea that we're working on, which we'll be announcing in the next couple of weeks. So keep your eyes and ears out for that. And otherwise, if there's anything else, if there's anything else anyone wants to say, say it now.
I just want to say welcome back, Shannon. Back as the guy in the chair. So,
thank you for that.
Yes, welcome back, Shannon. Thanks for joining us, Gary.
Anytime.
And John, even though John didn't say anything.
I couldn't get a word in edgewise.
I understand.
Yeah.
You just got to talk over somebody and talk loudest and fastest, and that's the way you get on.
Yeah. Hopefully next week I won't have Andreas, my baby boy, running around needing my attention. That was a hard half hour, the first half hour, until my wife finally got home and took over. He was begging for a feed. He was like, no, I don't want a bottle, I don't want this, I don't want that, I want mum, and I want mum to feed me. And I was like, I can't help you there, buddy. All right, anyway, thanks everyone for joining in. Also, thank you, Steve, as much as your internet sucks. Thanks for popping in and out constantly. Make sure you keep Colonel Murphy nice and warm during the showstopper time period. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks again for joining. We'll see you then.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
And the stream's cut.